This is another ranked 6-player progressive card game which is being played with public lobby master plus ranked players. And I think with the green player being the 6th player who is going to receive the most of troops, I'm not be adding my troops into Australia, as besides that he is already has the most of troops in it. And usually public lobby players, even if they're high ranked, tend to pay a lot of attention to going for continents more than to anything else. So won't be risking that, and I think the same thing with South America. So that just unfortunately leaves me with troops in North America, Europe, and potentially Africa, but we are going to see how it goes. I won't be the best the spreading out wise, but hopefully I might get a continent myself also, a big continent which is Europe, which would improve my chances to win by a lot if capturing and successfully holding it in the beginning of the game. But firstly I need that others would move their troops out. As you can see, I'm specially setting up my troops in the way to clearly show that I intend to go for it, and that might encourage Pink to move out so he wouldn't get his troops crushed. But unfortunately with the orange player just now adding more troops into Europe, I think I could forget about going for it. So I'm not sure what I should actually do in this situation. I mean, I cannot get Europe anymore to compensate my bad position the spreading out wise. Assuming my troops eventually get wiped out from South America, Africa, and Australia, I will basically be in the same place with my North American and European troops being close to each other. So I could actually considering adding some troops in some of these continents, but then the question is whether I would actually want to risk a bunch of my troops crushed if these players were actually very desperate to go for continents and saw them as the most important thing, which actually aren't in progressive card games on the classic map, but I'm not sure about my opponent's skill level. I think the orange player would probably be only the one player which I would consider guessing being a decent player. But like for example when it comes to the black player, I think his biggest goal is Africa, so he is trying to gather all of his troops there while do not care that much about being spread out. And I'm not sure about the green and pink players. The green player for example was manual rolling his South American and African troops into me despite basically not having a decent chance to take them out, so I would guess the green player doesn't try to be spread out either, and the only thing which prevents him from capturing Australia is the white player building a big troop stack in Asia. So I assume as soon as the white player would make himself blocked from Australia, the green player would be taking over it, wiping all of the troops. And I don't really think the white player wants to fight for Australia with green. I think the white player builds a big army near to deter the green player from actually capturing it and starting to receive extra troop bonus. Probably similarly like the orange player was building a bigger army next to South America, but once the pink player took over it, he moved his army out to not annoy pink. Anyway, as you can see, the white player skipped a card. And this is because that he would be the last player to trade in a set instead of being first. As you know, in progressive cards the set's value increases after each of traded in set, so while the first player gets only 4 troops, the 6th one even 15. Though the disadvantage in trading in your sets last, is because in the second round of sets in which the most of kills are being made, you could end up not even being able to trade in a set, because with everyone else trading in sets before you, you could just be simply eliminated before even having an ability to trade it in. So there's an upside and there's an downside when it comes to skipping a card as the first player, and some players like it while others don't. And personally I decided to not skip the card, is because I'm one of the weakest players who has a very bad position, so the safety is my #1 priority in this case, and then I didn't even have matching cards at 4, so in case I would see there would be some emergency and I would see that I would be forced to be one of the players to trade in a set first anyway. But if I were like in the pink player's position, having a continent, being spread out and one of the strongest players, then as the second player I would have followed the white player and skipped my card as well. But let me know what do you think on that. I think my target player who I should pay the most of attention to is orange. I think he would be the most reasonable player to take out with the right time coming and if it was worth for his cards. and then another reasonable player to keep having a look at is green, though the green player will only trade in his second set after the orange, black and pink players, so he will probably be stronger than orange, and so will the white player, and let's keep in mind that I will be one of the weakest players. So I think my best shot would be to try setting my troops up in the way to potentially be able to take the orange player out if it will even be worth for me to take him out sometime at all. But I mean, I've gotta set my troops in the position to be ready to eliminate someone. The good thing for me at least is that I still have those 3 troops in Australia which make me more spread out, and with the orange player putting his army into Siam, he is shielding me from all of the players except green, who is in Australia as well. So let's hope that my position might not be as much miserable if my troops from Australia are not being wiped out. Besides them, I have 2 armies, but these are basically in the same place and being connected with only the territories made of ones, so I would be a very easy target for sure. Though if someone put a bigger army of troops in either Greenland or Iceland, then it would make me a little bit more spread out, but I think the most depends if my troops in Australia are surviving or not. Anyway, as you can see, the white player, or the one who skipped a card, was taken out first, so I'm actually glad that I did that. Though at the same time I'm not satisfied with it either, as now I'm the weakest player, and I would either be too weak to take someone out or it wouldn't be worth it. All in all, I'm in a very bad position, and that might explain why to try being spread out well enough should be one of your biggest priorities. Me and the white player are perfect examples that no matter if you skip a card or not, it could equally go wrong for you in any case. So I'm not sure, maybe the best decision for me in the beginning of the game would have been to risk annoying players who go for the continents and adding some troops in them, even if taking into account that they could have been simply destroyed. As it really looks like I'm screwed, and one of the players who has the lowest chances to win along with the orange player, and probably now green too. I'm not sure actually why the orange and green players have actually missed their whole turns, but despite that they're still quite weaker than the pink and black players anyway. I think all in my only chances to win this game would be by another player making a big mistake. As you can see, with the green player removing my troops from Australia rather than protecting them, he basically gave away me for black, though the black player is only at 1 card, so by me skipping a card to stay at 3, he maybe will go for another player instead and put his army blocked from me once again. But at this point the game is over for me anyway, as the orange player took a very big risk and actually at the end succeeded taking me out. But I mean, I would have lost anyway after the green player removed my troops from Australia, so actually doesn't matter for me at all. Though even despite against the odds, maybe that was the best shot for the orange player to try taking me out anyway. Though I think that the orange player will probably be straightly taken out next anyway. So I think if I were him, then I would have 2-carded, stopping getting any new cards at all and just hoping for the best, hoping that another player makes a very major mistake in his favor. Anyway, as you saw, the black player ran out of time to take the orange player out, though maybe he wasn't actually intending to do that, as he wouldn't have been able to trade in a set in the same turn. Though if this is the case, then I'm not sure why he was targeting the orange player's territories at the first place. Then the pink player decided not to go for orange. And then as you saw, the green player tried taking orange out but ran out of time. So at the end the orange player was left for the black player, and after all it seems that the black player should definitely be the winner of the game. Though I'm not sure why he leaves the top of North America for last, as timer resets by 30 seconds anyway, so he will just end up blocking his army rather than leaving it next to pink. But what a son of a glitch has just happened. The black player, despite successfully taking the orange player in time and being at 5 cards in total to trade in a set in the same turn, doesn't get an extra 30 seconds, so his turn ended immediately and his troops were distributed into a bunch of useless smaller armies. But that isn't what was the most unfortunate to the black player, is because the pink player got to take the green player out and is a new favorite to win. Actually not even a favorite but a definite winner. As despite the black player having a set at 3 cards, he would have been too slow to wipe the pink player out, and the pink player was at 5 cards. So the pink player is the winner of this game, and that's a GG. And now for another progressive cards recommendation. I would recommend watching this gameplay. That's another interesting progressive cards video.